Estate planning isn't just for people with large amounts of assets, complicated real estate holdings, or many types of investments. Estate planning, simply speaking, is deciding how and to whom you want your assets distributed when you die. Estate planning is for everyone, and that's why I have Fred Forman here with me. He's my longtime friend and colleague and an expert in estate planning. You've been doing this for a while, so you've seen quite a few things.
You're saying I'm old, Ann?
No, not at all. No, you just have good experience.
Oh, thank you.
What would you say are some of the most common estate planning mistakes that you've seen?
Wow, yeah. Do we have to 8 hours or 9 hours?
Maybe the top 3 or 4.
Like a top 10 list?
Yeah.
So several things we see. Number one, with guardianships for kids, it'll say, I name my sister and brother-in-law as guardian, and I'll ask why, and they'll say, because they're married. And I'll say, well, that means if something happens to your sister, your brother-in-law and potentially his new wife are guardians for your kids. Oh, I didn't mean that at all. I just thought I had to name my brother-in-law. Maybe you name your sister and have a backup. Medical powers of attorney, often people will have 2 or 3 kids, and they'll say, I'm going to name my daughter first, my son second, and my second son third. And I'll ask, why did you do it that way? Well, the lawyer said I had to pick somebody. Well, but if I name my son David and my daughter Debbie calls the hospital, they may not give her information under HIPAA because she's not my power of attorney for patient privacy. Mm-hmm. Also, if I name David and I'm visiting Debbie in another state and have a medical setback, does she have to track down her brother? Do I put all the guilt or responsibility of ending my life on one child? What if I said any one of my kids could make a medical decision, but ending life would be a majority vote where they have time to think about that, and I don't put the guilt on them?
Right.
Where a lot of people will come in and say, I have to redo all my documents because my kids are older now, so I didn't name them years ago. Well, I say put them in now and say if they've reached a certain age. Number one, you don't come back and redo it all again someday. Again, don't pay lawyers twice, all of you people. Why pay twice? Do it once and they're automatically in there for the future. Also, what if I became disabled and couldn't come back and change them? They could never serve because they were never named.
Right.
On financial, and another thing that I like to always stress is on medical powers of attorney. Mm-hmm. When we do one, make sure the people that you give your power of attorney to get a copy of it. What good is doing this if they don't know about it?
Right.
I got a call from a kid who said, my dad I had to get guardianship for my dad. He's disabled. What should I know? I said, well, you had power of attorney all along. You didn't have to do that. He said, he never told me. So what good is it if the people don't know about it? So I always give my clients a flash drive and I say, email this to your family. Email it to your doctors if it's medical, but also email it to yourself. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, if my wife has to rush me to the hospital, she's got my power of attorney right on her phone or her tablet. She can get at it 24/7. With trust, I think the 2 biggest mistakes are people don't fund the trust, which I know is a big pet peeve of yours, Anna, as a financial advisor.
Well, I think it can be a daunting task because it is a step-by-step process, and there are a lot of things that they need to address. Yeah. So we certainly try to help in that process as much as we can.
And I know you do a great job. The reason trusts get funded is never the client's fault. I blame the lawyers out there, my fellow lawyers. I'm going to get thrown out of the union for sure for saying this. But I blame you lawyers. The reason is lawyers need to give a good checklist that can work with the financial advisor to specifically say what has to happen. On Bill's IRA, this should happen. On Betty's IRA, this should happen. On your brokerage account, this is what needs to happen. On the bank accounts, this is what needs to happen. Here's what should happen on your life insurance. They should spell those things out so that the financial advisor, the lawyer, and the client are all on one page because 3 heads are always better than 1.
Right. What's a reasonable amount of time to have those documents updated? Do you just do it once and then you're good to go, or do you have to be revisiting those?
Yeah, that's a great question. People always ask, should I do it every 3 years, every 5 years? And I say, an estate plan is not a colonoscopy. It's not number of years. It's based on circumstances. So, number one, if a law should change, hopefully the law firm you're working with, and one of the questions you want to ask them is, if there's law changes, can I be updated as to that? So if a law changes, you want to update your documents. And it's very important that clients from time to time check in to see if there have been law changes. And number 2, if a family circumstance changes. I named my brother to do this, but we've had a falling out. I named my sister, but she's not well medically. I don't think she'd be a good choice any longer. I have my cousin as my guardian for my kids, but my cousin is now living in Alaska. I'd love to live in Alaska in the summer, but I don't want my kids living there. At this point, I want them to finish school here. So these are things where I always say, if a law changes, we let you know. If a family circumstance changes, you let me know. And that's how we'll stay current. Because the whole thing is, let's give the family guidance, give it peace of mind. I mean, it's all about peace of mind and knowing that you're getting your wishes met. Wouldn't it be nice when the process is done to know you've got your medical, life support, financial decisions covered, you know where your estate's going, there'll be no hassle for the family, and everybody's protected.